Welcome to Effects number one stop to entertainment and trending news. Now, the Meghan and Harry docu-series on Netflix, the first 3 episodes is already out. And I must say, Netflix actually got us hooked from the teaser that they shared, and I had shared it on my Instagram as well. And I think a lot of what was being questioned was the credibility of this docu-series, because the images that they had shared on the teaser were nothing to do with Meghan and Harry together, or even Meghan alone. Press intrusion that was being predicted on the teaser was nothing that had happened to Meghan Markle. And watching these 3 episodes, I must say that none of those made it there. Everything that they shared was actually what happened to them. And we'll be getting into press intrusion later. So they do share how they met. They actually met on Instagram. Harry saw Meghan on Instagram. So he shared that he was going through his feed on Instagram, and someone who was a friend had this particular video of them and Meghan Markle, and it was like a Snapchat, and they did share that Snapchat, and Harry was just like, who is that? And so that is how Meghan said that the mutual friend that they had ended up emailing her to let her know that Prince has asked about her, to which Meghan asked who he was and if she could look at his Instagram feed. Of course, there have been reports that Harry has a private Instagram account, and so they did share several photos that you have seen right now on your screen of their first trip to Botswana together. They also shared several images and videos of moments that have never been seen, but just captured by them and perhaps people close to them. Of course, the story that we do know of how they tried to guard their relationship, not putting it out there. And so when they got the memo that the relationship was going to break out, the next day they went for a Halloween party, and this is a photo that was taken there. They shared other several images as well, and they also shared photos from their engagement night. So this is one of those photos, and they also did share of Harry getting down on his knees, as you can see, and also a video of Meghan Markle calling her friend, and that is Jessica, and letting her know that it is happening. So we've gotten to see a few moments of Meghan as a mom, Harry as a dad as well. We got to see the children and those early years as well. As they have spoken about their family, they have also spoken about Prince Harry's family, and that is the royal family. And perhaps to people's disappointment, so far they have not said anything bad about them. They have in fact shared how and Prince Harry's upbringing, and he did put out that it was fun, it was adventurous, it was a good upbringing as much as his parents were divorced. Meghan, on the other hand, did share that her parents did co-parent well, so she had present parents, but also it does not take away the effects of divorce. And she did talk about writing a poem, and where she tried to express that there are 2 homes, 2 houses, 2 couches, pretty much just explaining the back and forth, going to one parent, going back to the next. And also Prince Harry touched on this, even mentioned that it doesn't matter which background you are from. At the end of the day, divorce effects is pretty much the same to everyone, and that was the same of him, even if he was born in the royal family. And so, like I mentioned, we will be touching on press intrusion, and pretty much this is what even led them to leave the royal family or step down from their duties. And of course, we have often heard that the press intrusion that Princess Diana had, or even Kate had, cannot be compared to Meghan Markle, which I absolutely agree on. But that doesn't take away that there was press intrusion, there was invasion of privacy, and to add to all of it, there was social media. Not just the press writing bad things about you perhaps, but it's also people online chiming in on everything. And Prince Harry did mention that he was told that my wife went through the same thing. Why should it be different for your girlfriend? And that is them taking a stand and fighting the press intrusion and the invasion of privacy. So pretty much it was like, you're being baptized with fire. We went through this, are going through the same thing that we have gone through, pretty much letting them know, suck it up. And so what we get to drive from this docuseries is that, in fact, Harry mentions that he doesn't want to be in a situation where one day his children get to ask him, what did you do? And he referenced his mom quite a lot, because we do know the story of Princess Diana, and even after the divorce, her security was stripped off from her. So she was left alone out there. And it's in public knowledge that she did not have the support of her husband. And even when she was going through those low and high moments, she was pretty much alone out there. So pretty much what Harry is putting out is that he doesn't want the same situation that happened to his mother, not necessarily the passing of his mother, but not doing something about it. That is what he doesn't want, because in the future, if his children get to ask, what did you do about the situation, he wants to be able to answer that. And also he does shed light, not shedding his family, but also putting out that they have not experienced life as he has. He has gotten to do 10 years of military service, where he was interacting quite a lot with normal people. Being in South Africa, like pretty much has been surrounded by people who are not famous, people who are not coming from the royal family, people who are just living their normal lives. And hence he did put out that he has experienced this freedom differently from his family, who are sort of like in a bubble. So he does put out that he had already started experiencing the freedom of just being independent out there, even before meeting Meghan Markle. And so he also met somebody who was free. And so far in the first 3 episodes, we have gotten to see how they met, and also just how they started working, the passion that they had, the love that they had for what they're doing. Also, you just get to see the things that you don't get to hear about quite often. And Meghan Markle talks about, even when it comes to the dress code, no one takes you through that. And you get to hear that, you cannot wear the same color as the Queen. You cannot also wear the same color as the senior members of the royal family. And so pretty much we get to see Meghan Markle through this time wearing neutral colors. And she does put out that she did that because she also did not want to embarrass the family. No one shows you how to courtesy, no one shows you the do's and don'ts, the hats. Pretty much you are left there alone to figure things out yourself. And so this is not like the Princess Diaries, where you get to be shown what to do, how to sit, how to dress. I sort of imagined in my head what it might feel like to be getting into a family and they have their traditions and no one is taking you through it. And of course, people have always thrown jabs at Harry because he has grown into the family. He needs to know what is done and the do's and don'ts. But he did put out that there are things that he can let her know about, but he's not able to let her know the kind of dressing style, the kind of hats, all those things that are lady involved. And so something else that Harry does mention is that besides feeling that Meghan Markle is somebody who will fit in his world, he says that she has attributes that are pretty much the same like his mother, Princess Diana. She's very compassionate, she's empathetic, she's passionate, she is warmly. And so this even drove him more to being in love with Meghan Markle. And something that I want to put across that I found very interesting, or rather very important, was the subject of racism. And they did share that it came from the headlines like straight outta Compton. The little racial undertones that were used during some of the coverage from the UK press, not forgetting they would follow Meghan Markle's lineage from her mother's side. And Meghan Markle's mother was actually speaking as well, and she did share that there were times where she read things of people saying where Meghan Markle grew up, while that was not the case. They tried to make it like she came from the ghetto. And so why am I saying that this was something very important? Not in regards to really Meghan Markle, but also they spoke about how the UK racism is. And you can't compare it to pretty much America, where you can see the evidence of slavery, plantations, and all that. But they did put us through a little bit of history and the Caribbean, how they were benefiting from slavery, perhaps not having slaves there, but elsewhere doing the work and things being shipped back to the UK. And they did share how years later there's still people who are benefiting from slavery. They spoke about, look at the countries in the Commonwealth, how some of those people, some of those communities, still to this day languish in poverty. And this is the same case that is happening here in Kenya. We know that there are farms and pieces of land, very prime pieces of land, that are still being owned by generations who got them from kicking out Kenyans from their own lands. And they spoke about intergenerational wealth. And I think we can agree with that here, right here in Kenya, that there are places that the British came here and took, and still they own those lands, and their families, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren are still enjoying the benefits of that. So I found that little bit of history being put out there was very important, as much as it was not Harry and Meghan saying it out, but that was covered. And so we can't cover the entire 3 episodes, but there were few cases where they discussed race, and I would highly recommend for you to check out the series. But something that is very, very important is Meghan Markle's relationship with her family. This has come up very much, and how much she has no relationships, which was also highlighted in their wedding, that there was no black side of her family except from her mom. And so I think she doesn't owe anyone an explanation as to why she does not have close relations with either her dad or her mom's side of the family. But something that she had put out is that she was in very close relations with Samantha Markle, that is her stepsister's daughter, Ashley. And we get to hear that Meghan Markle had no relationship whatsoever with her stepsister, but she did get to know her niece, who, by the way, has no relationship with Samantha Markle. She did put out that it actually caused her not to attend Meghan and Harry's wedding, because now there was a lot of things that was happening. Samantha Markle was speaking out. She was talking about how Meghan was a pushy princess. Meghan Markle does share that there's a 17-year age gap between her and her older siblings, her step siblings to be precise, and she never got to see them because they had their own lives, they had moved out. So when she was with her dad, she was never with her step siblings, and so she doesn't know them. They do not have a relationship. And even Samantha Markle's daughter, who was in this docuseries, says that she met her mother when she was 6 years old. Later on, when she was an adult, and they tried to email here and then. That is actually how Meghan Markle got to know that Samantha and her niece had rekindled their relationship, and that's how she got to know her niece, and they went on vacations together. She was pretty much like a sister she never had, and in fact, Meghan Markle puts out that she would have loved to have an older sister, and so being with her niece was like having that sister that she never had. And so Thomas Markle comes up, and of course we do know the drama. He did not come to the wedding, the staged paparazzi photos, and now what we get to see is that Meghan Markle and Harry tried to call him more than 20 times. He never picked up. They called him, told him that it is okay if he did stage those paparazzi photos. It's okay, but he needs to tell them the truth so that they know how to deal with it. He denied it, and there it was the next day on the tabloids, on the news, that he had actually staged those photos. And so it's few days to the wedding, and Meghan Markle gets to hear that her dad will not be attending the wedding, neither walking her down the aisle, through the tablet. This story broke out through TMZ, so she got to find out that her dad was not coming to the wedding through the blogs. So she and Harry call her dad several times. He does not pick up. He messages, says that he had a heart attack, he was in hospital. They did share those messages, and they are very concerned over his health, and they're asking, which hospital are you? Literally, they are concerned over his health. He doesn't respond until they get 2 texts, one that do not sound like him, according to Meghan Markle, because she does say that her dad never in his life ever called her Meghan, but Meg, and the entire family also calls her Meg, including her friends as well. So she felt that that message, or rather his dad, did not have his phone, and that is when they also decided to just keep quiet. And I think in this case is just the biggest betrayal that a parent could ever do to a child. For money, even Doria does call it out. What kind of parent does that? We got to see clips of the paparazzi coming to Doria's home, asking her what she thinks about the staged photos. She remained mummed. She completely zipped it. She never spoke. She never said anything. Until this docuseries where she speaks out, and even she doesn't say much here. Anyway, in my opinion, these first 3 episodes were really good, and it gives a different perspective. You get to see things differently. You get to hear the story from them and what has been happening. And so far, they have provided their own receipts. I'm really looking forward for the second bit, and that is the next 3 episodes, or the last 3 episodes. And I think this is where it will be getting really, really hot, and you get to hear why they left. And hopefully people will get an understanding of that and what has been happening. If you have caught up with the 3 episodes, let me know what your thoughts are on it. And also, how did you find it? Thanks so much for watching. You're up to date. Please subscribe if you haven't. Also turn on your post notifications and notified once new uploads are up. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.